Hello, I am Donny, and I am the cute one.
And I'm Chelsea, and I am the cute one.
And it's probably edited out, cuties, but we just stared at each other for 20 seconds because I didn't know I was supposed to take the lead, like I do every week. So it's Friday.
TGIF, cuties.
TGIF.
Wait, Donny, I want to stop, and I want you to listen. Do you hear that? It's the sound of silence in my house because school is back in session, motherfuckers.
That's great.
I feel free. I feel light. I feel happy to be here.
Do you know that song, The Sound of Silence?
The sound of silence.
It's not from Glee. I don't know how I know it, but I do know
Probably
it.
from Trolls.
Never seen it. Shockingly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the only Anna Kendrick works I haven't seen.
You do love that stinky poop face, Anna Kendrick. The face that looks like she's always smelled a stinky diaper.
But like a chipmunk smelled one.
Yeah, like, ooh.
Yeah, like, dyke. Okay.
Did you just say a slur for no reason?
No, not for no reason. It's the face that Gretchen Wieners makes when she says it in the Burn book, but that's Anna Kendrick's face all the time. Like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for the clarification. I thought we were just starting out this lovely Friday by you shouting slurs into the abyss for no reason.
I did tell you about the day that we had to do that in class, right? I know I did. It's my favorite story about college of all time. So when I first went to college, I went for elementary education. So my first 2 years were all classes about teaching. I got out of taking real math classes because the math classes I took when I first went to college were about teaching math to
Brilliant.
kids. But one of the classes I had was about childhood psychology, whatever. So one day we came in the room and whiteboards were on all four walls. That was normal. But then she had columns of all different minority groups. So like women, gays, black people, Asians.
Was this
whatever.
a white woman professor?
It was. And we had to say slurs about all of these different kind of people. And she would write them on the board. I have never been more active in a class in my life. I stopped raising my hand. I just started shouting.
You're like, I've been training my whole life for this. I say all the slurs except the really bad one.
So I let someone else say that one. And then I was like, I've got it covered, everybody. So that's how I'm going to start the episodes from now on, I think.
Great. Wonderful. So if you're a new cutie tuning in, bye. Thanks for trying out the show.
No, maybe they came to be educated, and that's what I'm here to do.
Donny doesn't know much. Like Forrest Gump, he's a simple man, but he does know his ABCs, his 1, 2, 3s, and his... So I want to give a horse party update because last we spoke... It was about to be my daughter's 7th birthday party. She is a horse girl. We fully leaned into the theme. It was a success. All the kids had so much fun. They all had their blow-up horse figurines. They were running around the yard, chasing each other. One boy was the bad guy the whole time, just got chased for 3 hours straight, as is tradition. And it was also a success because I am in my looking for parent friends era, and it's so hard to find parent friends that, number one, parent relatively similar to you. Number 2, where the kids get along. And then number 3, where like all the parents get along. Yeah. And I think we made 2.
Congratulations. I have 3 things to say. Sure. 1, are any horse parties successful, really, if you think about it? I'm glad everyone had a good time, but I do think you should rephrase the way you say that sentence. 2, I feel bad for that little boy because I do know what it's like to be assigned the bad guy when playing with your daughters. Hell on earth is what it is, but also fun at the same time.
They're relentless. They aren't going to let the bad guy go free.
They do need to learn power dynamics are important in a plot. We do need the bad guy to win a little bit so that when the good guy inevitably wins, it means more. But if they just whoop my ass for 3 hours, I think people may shift on who we root for.
Yeah, by hour 3 of playing bad guys with you, my daughters are drawing a blue line on their American flags.
And then the third thing, I know that I don't have children, but I do think a play date should be set up with other children when I'm there because that one girl's dad is so hot and I do need to meet him in real life.
No. I'm going to make sure that from now on, we are only scheduling you coming into town when my daughter's friend who lives down the street, when their family's on vacation. Because when Donny came to visit, we were driving somewhere. I'm going to use a fake name. So to the girls in the backseat. I'm like, oh, look, girls, wave, it's Cindy's dad. First of all, Donny immediately gets on his phone, which I later found out was him getting on Grindr to see if Cindy's dad was on Grindr. But Donny says, oh, does Cindy's dad like other dads? It's like, no, Cindy's dad is cool and our friend, and I'm really trying
People that like other dads can be cool.
Oh, I didn't mean it like
well,
that.
That's how you said it.
That came out very homophobic. I was saying, no, Cindy's dad is cool and we like him. And then I trailed off to my next thought. But I meant we don't want to fuck up this friendship because he's actually a cool dad that we like, that we want to stay friends with. And, you know, maybe not have a Bo Peep situation.
Or you would see me more in your life. Your girls ask me every time, when are you moving to this state? When are you moving to this town? When are you moving on the street? Are you moving in with us? And while I am allowed in your basement now, I could just move down the street in with Cindy's dad as well.
That is true.
Or you can put me to work so I don't have to pay rent, because the whole point of me living with you would be to save money. So I wouldn't pay rent, but I would do chores, clean the house, cook sometimes, take the girls to the bus. So when I'm taking the girls to the bus, I'll just go in a robe with nothing underneath. And then if it's windy, boop.
Nothing like a casual ball sack hanging at the bus stop to let everybody know what you're about.
I would wait until the children are on the bus, though.
That's good of you. You're going to wait till 8:59 when that bus pulls away. I wonder how many times in my life I do stop mid-sentence because of my ADHD. Because, cuties, we're back to recording in the morning. So we're back to that joyous time where my medicine kicks in, like right at the end of the recording. But I wonder how many times in my life I stop a sentence midway through and don't finish the second half, so I do appear like homophobic, racist, just generally bitchy. Because in my mind, I saw no problem with me saying, no, Cindy's dad couldn't be gay. He's cool and our friend. Now, speaking of parent friends, one last thing, and I'm so mad at myself because I meant to wear my new shirt. So I'm going to have to save it for next TGIF because, friendly reminder, we are over on YouTube. If you want an ad-free experience for now, go over to YouTube and watch. So that'll just be a little teaser, because the thing about making parent friends is it is very much like I'm back in the dating pool, because you have to put your best foot forward. You have to be making small talk. I always feel jittery and nervous, like I'm asking someone out on a date when I'm like, hey, maybe you and the girls could come over for a play date, that type of thing. So at this party, I usually do enjoy my Goblin Core, Adam Sandler adjacent aesthetic. I just got an amazing new oversized t-shirt of 3 raccoons howling at the moon. Got it from the TikTok shop. After I made that purchase, that was what finally made me say, okay, I need to delete this app. I really wanted to wear it because, as you know, my daughter is my daughter for a reason, and genetics, etc. My oldest daughter is obsessed with the t-shirt. The horse girl loves the howling raccoons. I put on my uniform, the raccoon shirt, my biker shorts, my Vans, my tall socks. I looked in the mirror and said, ooh, she's still got it. Then I said, wait. There are 2 new potential parent friends coming to this party. I'm really leading, front-facing of who I am authentically. So I put on my cute little white skirt, a white little off-the-shoulder t-shirt, put on some makeup, wore my hair down, Donny.
Wow.
And I really felt like I've tricked them for another day. If they come back for that second play date, then I might reveal that I'm the raccoon queen.
Second, I would still say it's too early.
Well, I mean, I do think that part of the reason I landed Dr. Bald is I very clearly, from day one, let him know, hey, by the way, I'm batshit crazy.
I try to hide that I'm crazy, but I say it. So they think it's a joke. I'm like, haha, I'm fucking nuts. And then they laugh. But then when you're in a relationship with me for 13 years and then you tell me and our marriage counselor, he's nuts. I'm like, I told you since day one. I
never hid it. I've been telling you all along.
Yeah, it's nice that way. Now, you had quite a week and weekend. However, I don't know if I've been relaxing. Maybe I've just been disassociating. I'm really not sure. But I don't have any, like, wild parties I went to this week. No sexcapades to tell you about. All I've been doing is watching Big Brother 23 and Smash, now available on Peacock. I wonder if this is why I've been more emotional this week. Because I feel like I'm wasting time, even though I don't feel like it. Like, I wonder if there's something in your gut that's like, you're a couch potato.
Well, This is a broken record at this point. New cuties tuning in. This is the point of the podcast where we argue about capitalism. So I do think that your rise and grind mentality makes you feel like being productive equals being happy and a good person. And so when you aren't productive, then you start to doubt yourself because you're like, well, I don't deserve this break. I should put my resume out there and sign up for my 98th job, you know?
So it could be that. It could be that boy that I speak about in the divorce episode part 1 is leading me on. It could be that we'll just make a plug right now. It could be that I've talked openly about the divorce for the first time on Patreon, patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne. I did talk about my life and the divorce and all of that. It could be many things, but the facts are I did a lot of nothing this week, and I've been overly emotional this week.
Yeah. But I think sometimes it's good to be emotional and like to just let yourself be sad about stuff.
Thank you.
But I do think probably talking openly about it, like I know you have done the processing. We wouldn't have done that Patreon episode if you hadn't like, you know, already talked about it with more important people than me, like Quinn and your therapist and your family, etc. But I do think that like maybe there's like oh, this is a real thing now. You're like announcing it to the cuties.
Yeah, perhaps. So that's that. Watch Smash, available on Peacock.
What is Smash?
You would hate it. Don't even ask.
Oh.
It's about... it's with Catherine McPhee about the production of a Broadway
Who's
show.
Catherine McPhee? Nanny McPhee?
No.
Is she the one that was married to David Foster?
Still is, yeah.
Oh.
Her. And it's about these people are putting on a production of a new musical about Marilyn Monroe. And she's like this small town girl that moves to New York. And she gets possibly cast as the lead, but then there's this girl that's been on Broadway for like 15 years and she's possibly cast as the lead, and drama ensues.
Oh.
One girl tries to kill herself, then she sleeps with Catherine McPhee's fiance. It is juicy, but there's too many songs. You wouldn't like it. If it was straight drama, you could.
Okay, so it's like Showgirls without all the titties.
Yeah, replace titties with musical numbers.
I'll keep the titties. So this week brought us round 1 of the U.S. Open. Joel McHale joining the Yellow Jackets cast, Zach Braff teasing a Scrubs reboot, Brittany Cartwright officially filing for divorce from Jax Taylor, Scott Peterson breaking his silence, a possible Oasis reunion, a 4th season of Ted Lasso, and a Baywatch documentary.
What a week.
What a week. That was a lot of things in that segment, and yet when I was looking for headlines this week, nothing spoke to me.
Well, what would we talk about? An Oasis reunion? Like, a lot of things happened, but none of them led us to talk about anything.
So instead of a headline this week, I am bringing book talk drama because, you know, the one thing about me is that I love to get overly invested in drama that has nothing to do with me. And I feel like you'll be into this because it's a little bit like Truman Capote coded.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell this story, but I also recommend, because it's all over TikTok, and I specifically recommend @TellTheBees on TikTok because he does a much more like both detailed and concise version of what I'm about to say about this story. So Haley Jakobson, who is the author of Old Enough, who I personally really like I followed her for many years. I feel very seen by a fellow chaotic bisexual Gemini. I really enjoy her writing. She has written this book called Old Enough, which is a debut novel about a young bisexual woman named Savannah who is pulled away between a new sense of community and loyalty to a friendship that she's outgrown. And it details a friendship breakup following her best friend Izzy getting engaged and leading up to the wedding. So Haley has written this book. She calls it fiction, but it is a bit of that auto fiction where it's clearly based on her life.
My favorite genre.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. When Nicole Richie and all of those girls were writing books like that in the early 2000s, couldn't read them.
You know that things are pulled in from real experiences, and especially in those types of books, you're trying to figure out which character is which. Yeah. Which leads me to this drama, but you go first.
The LA Candy series, can't say enough good things about it. Written by Lauren Conrad. There were 3 books books in the original series. Then she did a spin-off about the Heidi character with 3 books there too. I bought tickets to go to the book signing for all 6 books, and something happened every time. Like a snowstorm, a death in the family, etc., etc.
This was your first murder mystery curse.
Truly, yes. And then when she finally wrote that stupid book about event planning where she has a whole page about how to make a tequila shot, then I got to finally see her in a book signing. That broke that curse, and then I started killing people at murder mysteries.
Yeah. Never go to a murder mystery party that Donny invites you to, because someone will perish, for real. Basically, Haley has written this book. She is the main character, and the main character is how she views herself. She's like this cool Brooklyn bisexual, like very clearly, Haley's pulling from real experiences. Now, her ex-childhood best friend, who did remain anonymous, went on this podcast called The Real Stuff with Lucy Fink, and she called in because she's saying, hey, my best friend from high school and I had a brutal falling out right before my wedding, and last year I learned she'd published a book, which was a novel about a friendship breakup spurred by a wedding. Of course, I bought and read the book, and yes, it was basically about me. And she talked about how Haley plagiarized her childhood while blending the truth. So she would tell very specific things that were real and then throw in something that wasn't real. But the things this ex-best friend is alleging that weren't real were things like her being incredibly homophobic or transphobic. So she's saying, okay, so all of these people who know us are reading this book, are seeing these conversations and these fights that really did take place, and then on the next page, it's me being homophobic. A couple of disclaimers. One is, obviously, this is all alleged. I haven't done any fact checking. The host of this podcast did mention at the start of the episode that she thought about reaching out to Haley to get a comment, but she didn't want it to become like investigative journalism. So she says, like, this is just a story told from one person's point of view, just like the book was a story told from one person's point of view. The other thing I want to mention, just a big plot hole with this ex-best friend coming on, is she glosses over like a pretty major point of the book. So trigger warning. In the book, the main character, Savannah, and I'll just use their character names so I don't have to keep saying like ex-BFF. So Savannah's the main character, Izzy is the best friend. In the book, Savannah is SA'd by Izzy's brother. So when Izzy on this podcast is talking about how she's remaining anonymous, she's like, well, I want to remain anonymous for the sake of my family and because there's like some pretty unflattering things said about my brother in the book, and just kind of like leaves it at that. And I'm like, but like unflattering or your brother essayed someone. Yeah. So I just want to like also give that part of it. Could you imagine picking up a book and being like, I think this play is about me.
I think about writing books like that all of the time.
About me?
Now, you would probably be safe, as of now. But like about my family, possibly Quinn would be in it too. But then I do think about that. Like there will be repercussions. Now, I can't tell you how I know this. And I wasn't there, so this is alleged as well. But in real life, the former best friend went to one of Haley's book signings and like caused a scene, and security had to take her out.
So she talked about that in the podcast, which I thought this was like very petty and dramatic, but I was like, well, this is kind of hilarious and also like something that maybe the character Izzy in the book would do. But so she wanted to just go to the book signing and sit in the back and just have Haley see her face. But then Haley got word, and this is from her point of view, Haley got word that she was there, and security like kicked her out and said like, you're not welcome here.
When I went to the Jessica Simpson book signing, famously with my feather necklace, PETA was there because Jessica Simpson wears fur sometimes, so they stood up with signs with like dead chickens on it and stuff.
That's unhinged.
It is, but I got on TMZ because of it. I was like, get them out of here.
Fuck the animals. We love Jessica. Team Jessica. That's crazy.
It was scary.
Yeah, luckily your feather necklace was metal.
True.
You would have gotten blood dumped on you. Some of the stuff that the ex-best friend had issues with was Haley sharing personal details about Izzy's life, including her mom's struggle with alcohol, obviously the unflattering things said about her brother. There was one conversation where Izzy opens up about her own essay in the book, and it's presented as like she's kind of laughing it off and like doesn't even care about it. And she's like, no, I went to years of therapy for that. She was very much written as like the stereotypical, vapid, rich sorority girl. Interestingly, one of the details that was changed in the book is that Haley made Izzy the one with realtor parents who afforded Izzy a trust fund, but in reality, Haley is the one with the trust fund and with the rich parents. And Izzy was speculating, like, I wonder if part of our falling out and part of her feeling like she outgrew me is the fact that, like, I know where she really came from. And she's basically like cosplaying a struggling artist in New York City, but like she's a trust fund kid.
Wow.
And then another thing that was changed is that Izzy herself is bisexual and actually came out before Haley, but that wouldn't have like fit into this narrative that she's like a homophobic, not understanding sorority girl. I just find it really interesting because authors are told, write what you know, but sometimes when you write what you know, you're going to piss off the people around you who things are based off of. And Izzy said the experience was like all of your worst fears about like what you think people think of you, except worse, because it's like what your ex-best friend, her perception of you in this like one-dimensional character.
I just saw It Ends With Us in theaters recently, so I know about bad writing. It sounds like it is poorly written. Like the fact that Izzy is not fleshed out at all. She's just there to be like a Sharpay Evans kind of. And even Sharpay seems more fleshed out than that.
By the end of every High School Musical, Sharpay has learned her lesson. Now, she forgets it by the end of summer for the next movie, but she does have some personal growth.
I'm going to defend that for a second because there are times when your heart knows, but you still just can't do it in real life.
I should have personal growth and not be hating this bitch for coming in out of town and stealing all my solos.
But now she's stealing something else.
But I had this one country club that was just mine, and now that bitch is dancing in the sprinklers. I can't get away from her.
And getting solos in a talent show and stealing my friends, including my brother. I get it.
I get it too. Team Sharpay.
Forever. I'll do a TED Talk.
I think the same points that Izzy's making about reading that one-dimensional version of how someone perceives you, that's the same reason I could never go on reality TV.
But I think that's where social media comes into play. Like someone might go on social media to say, fuck you, Chelsea. But then when they see how chaotic you are, they'll say, oh, this wasn't on TV.
That's true.
Cuties, we talk about Big Brother on our Patreon. If you want to listen to recaps, go there. But I do want to say one thing really quick. Cam on the live feeds this week said, I won veto this week and they only called me in the diary room one time in 7 days. He's like, I don't think I'm making it in the main edit a lot. Poor thing.
Aw, yeah.
I would try to drown myself in the shower if I only got called in the diary room one time. I will get a plot.
Well, we know that you will. Come hell or high water, you will be calling someone's baby ugly to get some screen time. I think for me, that would be best case scenario. If I realized I'm 6 weeks in, I just won a veto and I only had one diary room, I'd be like, fuck yeah, I might win Big Brother and not ruin my reputation.
No, I would hate it.
We would have very different goals going into
That's
the house.
true. You're right. All right. More of that on Patreon. So I want to talk about Channing Tatum's t-shirts.
Okay. Sure.
He said that he has bought so many t-shirts that he doesn't have to do laundry for a year. And that's why he buys them, so he doesn't have to do laundry for a year. And that sounds like a eat the rich thing, but it is what I was doing in COVID because I was terrified to go to the laundromat. So I bought sweatpants, shorts, and t-shirts throughout COVID so I didn't have to go to the laundromat. Now, the detail about that is a little scary in hindsight. I only bought 14 shirts. So that's only 2 weeks worth unless I was really stinking the place up.
Well, I think there were different norms and standards in
That's
COVID,
true.
certainly.
That's true.
Does Channing Tatum, are they all the same t-shirt, or does he have Raccoons Howling at the Moon one day,
Oh.
Spice Girls the next day? Because I think I saw a headline that said it was in like 1999.
Oh, this is old?
I was trying to play cool. No, it was like back in the 2000s. He didn't want to do laundry, so he bought. Okay, I'm going to steal it now. I was trying to play it cool, Donny, but then you literally clearly had just read the headline because I told you it was a slow news week and you fucking stole my headline. This is what I was
Chelsea,
going to talk about.
This is what I do. My life is so busy. Now, this week I did say I did nothing except watch Big Brother. However, my life is normally so busy that I screen cap the headline to research at a later time, but then we get to the day of the recording and I only have the headline to go from.
And usually you can get away with it because I'm certainly not doing any fucking research. Again, new cuties listening, welcome to our show. But because I was like, oh, finally, a headline that there's certainly jumping off points to talk about. I go to our TGIF episode and you've already called dibs. So I think that he said it was like in 1999 or 2000, he didn't want to do laundry. So he kept buying, and I was trying to like tee you up here, Donny.
Well, educate me.
He kept buying plain white like Hanes t-shirts because he was like, oh, these could last a couple days. And then he would just throughout the year, just every time instead of doing laundry, he would just buy another 2-pack.
And that's what I did during COVID with 14 black shirts at once. So I do think that's the way to do it. And especially in the early 2000s, a white Hanes t-shirt was definitive style. You could just wear that and a puffy vest, that and a regular vest, that by itself with a cross necklace. Yeah. I'm wet talking about all this. I love early 2000s fashion. Bring it back. Especially, cuties, I have an announcement to make. If you have an ED or anything like that, skip ahead. What? I need to celebrate, Chelsea.
Oh, yourself. I thought you were about to be like, bring back early 2000s fashion and bring back the anorexia.
No. If weight is triggering for you, skip ahead.
Okay.
But I lost 20 pounds, which not only is a milestone in itself, but also brings me down to 239 pounds, which I haven't been in the 230 since before I met Quinn, which is 13 years ago, cuties. Do the math. The 20 pounds came directly out of my tits. So I am going to start wearing medium shirts again. Am I a medium? No, I'm not. But this is what it would look like. And doesn't that look good?
Water balloon titties for days. You're one step closer to your goal.
So I'm going to wear white t-shirts, cross necklace, and a beanie. 13 years ago was the last time I weighed this. So I'm going to act like it is still fashion from 2000 whatever year that was.
As long as you don't go back to your 13 years ago persona, because I think anything that you've learned and grown from those tiny baby steps, I think we need to hold on tight to those.
There are a few things that I'll keep, but for the most part, I might just fully go back. And I told my therapist that yesterday.
I'm sure that she was thrilled to hear that. I would love if you showed up to our recording just wearing a wig, like you fully have gone back to your original hairdo.
Now, here's the thing about that. I do sometimes think about hair again, but I know that ship has sailed. But in my head, this is by choice because I like the way it looks, which means then I can change it up. But in real life, I do like the way it looks, but I also need to have it because my receding hairline is literally an S like that. Like only one side of it. If it was just receding backwards, I would be fine with that. A 5-head, like Rihanna.
You would have the Bert hairstyle from Bert and Ernie. Just straight up in the center of your head.
But it was like still here on this side and then here on this side. I was like, there's nothing. That's why I did the side part for so long. But I just had a faux hawk basically my entire life. From high school to 2010, faux hawk. Except when I tried to grow a man bun.
Which is so weird to me because that's so off-brand for you, I feel, to have a
Chelsea,
man bun.
Think about it. I always want to look like the people I find attractive.
Okay.
So there were a lot of hot men that had man buns, so I wanted one. And that's why Quinn tells me, stop dressing like a black person, stop just buying the clothes I wear. And I'm like, I love the way it looks, but do I love the way it looks on me or love the way it looks on Quinn or other black men that I find attractive? Both is the answer. So I'm going to wear Tim's.
Okay, well, out and proud, Donny stands tall in his Timbs. Back to the man bun, because it really does break my brain to try to picture you with one. I do think I want to go back on my previous statement. It is off-brand, but it is not the wrong energy, because I do think that the way you terrorize people in a relationship is energetically giving man bun.
I wanted it so bad. I had that little where it just sticks out like a thumb. I wanted it so bad that I had beginner man bun. And that's when my friend was like, never do that again. 2
more things about hair. I'm so sorry, because we do need to start wrapping it up.
Okay.
And this was a fully unplanned tangent. How did we get here? Channing Tatum's t-shirts. But 2 things. One is, did you ever see pictures of my brother's hair in COVID when he grew it long? I'll have to send you pictures, because my brother, his hairline starts at Teresa Giudice level, starts at the eyebrows. But he had the full, by the end, the Rachel from Friends haircut.
No.
It looked good, and then it reached a point where it had to go.
Yeah.
Conversely, Dr. Bald has recently told me that when he's an old man, and I said, well, how old? And much like you, he considers himself to be in his middle age. So he's like, I don't know, probably in 10 years. He said, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want, fashion-wise, which troubles me. I wouldn't say he's not doing whatever the fuck he wants fashion-wise now, but he said that he is going to grow out his hair. Mm-hmm. Now, he has the full, like, he's bald up top completely, but, like, if he wanted to, he could grow out the George Costanza in the back. Okay. He said he's going to grow it out and have a long ponytail. And I said, no. And he said, you can't tell me what to do in 10 years. So I don't know what future version of me he thinks he's married to, but he really is planning for, in 10 years, having a long ponytail.
Well, things could change.
Well, and if things don't, then I'm going to be going to bed with a pair of scissors, let me tell you.
Oh, God. What an idea.
Something.
We found the origins of the horse girl, I think.
So that's a perfect segue. Let's move on to Cutie of the Week, because I can certainly tell you Dr. Bald's one-day ponytail shan't be mine. To take a sharp left turn, my Cutie of the Week are the victims of Tom Girardi, because Tom Girardi was found guilty on all 4 counts of wire fraud. I mean, I know it doesn't bring back the money, but I hope it brings some sense of justice to those victims. And if you guys are looking for a summary of that whole trial, Kiki from The Talk of Shame has been doing Instagram lives about it, has been posting about it, and she does a really good job of kind of like breaking down day to day what happened, but he was found guilty.
Good. See you in hell.
Fucker.
Well, I won't be there.
Well.
So, my Cutie of the Week. Last week, cuties, you know, it was Blake Lively. So, I will continue the tradition of highlighting monsters on this podcast.
Great.
Because I want to shout out my other boo, Leah Michelle, who gave birth to her second baby. This one is a girl named Emery Soul.
Well, it's nice that one of the people in her family have a soul. No, congratulations, Leah Michelle.
God bless you.
I hope she has a lot of picture books on her registry so that child can grow up reading.
That, cuties, is the end of our time with you. So on Monday, we will be covering Mystery Men in honor of its 25th anniversary this year. And last reminder, you can go to patreon.com/IamTheCuteOne to hear about my divorce, to listen to us recap Big Brother every week, or for unedited and unhinged versions of this. Also, on our YouTube, you can watch the video of this recording. And when you're there, you can subscribe, leave comments, like other people's comments, whatever works to get the algorithm popping for us. And that's it. We'll talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Bye.
Bye.